Hi everyone and welcome to Season 11, Episode 2 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we've started our first season in the Premier League. We are 5 games in plus a couple of cup matches. It's going as you'd expect it to go really. A bit inconsistent. We're finding our feet a little bit in this division and our young players are doing okay. Today, I've brought you back a little bit earlier than we talked about last episode. We're going to play Sheffield United. Just feels like a good opportunity to get some points on the board with them sitting in 19th. Can we do it? Let's find out. Welcome back to Truro City. So yes, indeed, we have started the first season in the Premier League. We are doing all right. If we go straight to the league table, you'll see that we're sitting in 17th. You can't see it. It's just behind my head. But I promise you we're there. Just in 17th position on 4 points out of 5 matches. Now, basically, the way it will work is if you get to about 40 points in the Premier League, you're pretty much guaranteed safety most of the time. So that's, on average, about 1 point per game. So if we can hit that sort of average, then we're doing all right. And in 5 games, we got 4 points. So we're not too far off that at the moment. So I'm reasonably happy with that just at this moment. We have been inconsistent. If we go and check out the most recent form, you'll see that since the friendly matches, which were utterly brilliant before the start of the season, although we didn't really play too many challenging sides, we've done all right. But 2 of our 3 wins so far in the competitive matches have both been in the Carabao Cup. We beat West Brom and we beat Portsmouth. So the rest of it in the Premier League, you can see we've had 1 win, 1 draw, 3 losses in our 5 matches. We could do with some points just in the Premier League just to boost us up a little bit. And we've got a tricky run of fixtures coming up. In the Cup, we've got Man City next, unfortunately. Then we play Everton, Man City, Burnley, Arsenal, Leicester. There's some tricky games coming up. So Sheffield United are a really, really key opportunity to see if we can pick up any points. It's away from home, but with them sitting in 19th position, these are the games we're going to have to do something in. So that's why I brought you back slightly earlier. We were going to play the Burnley game originally, but here we are for Sheffield United. Can we get those 3 points? Let's go and check it all out. So unfortunately, we've got some injuries in and around the fullback positions today. We've got Darnell Clark and Ben Amor both out. That's our rotating option at right fullback and our number 1 option at left fullback. Fink is okay to play at right fullback as normal. Fenn has come in, but even he can only really do about 45 minutes. We're going to have to stretch that today potentially and see if we can get him through the game somehow, because the options in the fullback positions are a bit sparse just at this moment. But the others will be back in a little while from now, a couple of days each, I think. So yeah, 3 or 4 days each, they should come back into the fold. But for today's match against Sheffield United, we are a little bit depleted in the fullback position. We've also made 1 change in our starting lineup just at the moment. Well, a couple of changes if you talk about Morrison as well, who wasn't in the last episode because he had a bit of a knock to start the season. But this guy comes into the starting lineup. He's doing okay for us so far. He's got 2 assists and 1 goal in 5 matches that he's started. As a 19-year-old attacking midfielder, I think this guy's got a lot about him. So hopefully he can properly hit the ground running and get us some more goals and assists today. But the main change actually has been on this right-hand side. We started off with Wright Phillips down the right-hand side. He's one of our team leaders and he's done very well to get us to the Premier League and help us over the last few seasons. But just this season hasn't really covered himself in glory so far. A 6.58 average rating from his games so far. And when Ibrahim has come in and played for us down the right-hand side, he's done quite a bit better. And at 22, I think this guy has got a reasonably bright future ahead of him. So he has just for now taken over on that right-hand side. But other than that, we're pretty much as we were in last episode, other than those fullback changes. So we've got Mbayu in goal, Fink at right back, Fenn at left back, even for easy for me to say, Baptiste and Nelson in central defence. We've got Gonzalez, Diakita, and Morrison in central midfield, Ibrahim on the right, Apoku on the left, and Abu Bakar up top. And today a bench of Colombini, Kane, Barry, Thompson, Wright Phillips, Dudita, and Battersby. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I went with pumping the fists and riling them up to say we've got nothing to lose. We know how good we are. Let's show everybody else and really see if we can get 3 points from this sort of opponent. They are still going to be very hard. We are the bottom side in the predictions in this league. So every single opponent are pretty much better than us in theory. But at least a couple of them we finished ahead of last season. Both Leeds and Blackburn came up from the Championship with us and they were below us in the Championship. So maybe we're not quite as bad as people might perceive us to be, but we need to kind of win this sort of game to properly show that. Whilst we're doing this and whilst there's not much happening, let me just tell you about a brand new series that's coming to the YouTube channel on Thursday of this week. We're going to do another relegation rescue series where I take over a team at the bottom of a division at Christmas and spend half a season playing every other game on the episodes, half a season to see if we can rescue them from relegation. And in this particular time, we are going to be going to La Liga in Spain, and whoever the bottom club at Christmas is, we will take over and spend half a season trying to rescue them from relegation. So that's coming up on Thursday of this week, so watch out for that. It is Sheffield United on the ball down the far side at the moment, and they had a pretty good shot from the edge of the box, but it does go sailing over the top. Fortunately for us, the goalkeeper didn't have to do much with that at all. But there is a sighter, and it's been quite a quiet first half. I mean, there's been plenty of shots, 6 for them, 4 for us, but only 1 on target for each club. We've had more of the possession, which is kind of the way we want to keep it, if at all possible. The XG ratings are fairly similar. So, again, we are being competitive. We haven't really been blown away so far in these first 5 games. Southampton, who are running away at the top of the table just at the moment, I think they've got 15 points from 5 games, so a perfect record. They beat us 2-0, I think it was, something like that, 2-1, something like that. But even that wasn't a particular blowout. We did okay against them. So you can see that we're being competitive, but just at the moment, whilst a whole bunch of new players settle in, we don't quite have that cohesion about us to potentially play at our best just yet. If we can stay in contact with those above us at Christmas time, the second half of this season, I think, will be quite key for us to try and avoid relegation. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, on this occasion, we're doing okay, but it is still a game that I would like to push a little bit further with. So let's go with, I think we've been unlucky so far. We're not going to tell them we're happy. We're going to say we've been a little bit unlucky, get them on the front foot again, and as we come back out, we will fire them up for this second half. We're sitting in the balanced mentality mostly this season as a starting point, just because, again, we've moved up a division, so we're at the bottom of the table rather than at the top of the previous table, where we could be a bit more attacking. So we've gone into balanced. We'll see whether we can move up from that occasionally into a more positive and attacking mentality as the games wear on if need be. But we do have possession of the ball just at the moment down that right-hand side. Eventually, Ibrahim cuts into Diakite. Gonzalez getting involved, and there's the space again from Ibrahim. Gets held up very nicely, but there you go. There's the nice through ball, and Abu Bakar in the top of the 6-yard box, just between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box, is in perfect amount of space. And as long as he wasn't offside, and we will check that on this replay, then that is a very lovely goal. We worked it very nicely through midfield. There's the run from Ibrahim, just getting off the shoulder of his defender. I think Abu Bakar held his run very nicely, was in a little bit of space and does not make a mistake. We'll just check it on this final one here. No, plenty onside. So that's really positive. It was a good cross in from Ibrahim, found him nicely, and we do go 1 up after just before 60 minutes. So we've still got half an hour to play. You can see they've still had a few more shots than we've had, but there's still a few shots that have actually gone on target. 68 minutes, we're going to pause the game there, make a couple of changes just to freshen up the legs a little bit and keep everybody healthy as much as we can. So you can see most in our midfield type area are having a pretty good game. That's fantastic. Morrison just a little bit off colour. And so is Apoku. So we'll take Apoku out and put Dudita in instead. He's a good young talent, Dudita. But we're going to protect him a little bit before we unleash him totally. But I think actually he's probably the best we've got on this left-hand side. We'll bring him in slowly. Today is another opportunity to get a few minutes. We've got some issues at the back. Baptiste not doing fantastically well. So I think we're going to take him out as well and put Colombini in. And we will take Morrison out and put Thompson in, our attacking midfielder from last season. Remember Thompson. So he's going to be perfectly good understudy for the new young guy Morrison, who hasn't quite hit the heights today, has he? That's unfortunate, but he is only 19. And every news article that talks about my team of Truro City in the Premier League starts off by saying the young team that is Truro City. We've got a very, very good crop of very young players, but that is going to be a little bit inconsistent this season. If we can survive in the Premier League this season, then I think we can move on from here with a team that can potentially grow together. That's the intention anyway. We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a long season to find out whether we can survive, though. But for today, we're doing okay. Sheffield United, though, on a good attack. And unfortunately, at that far post, Morgan Whittaker gets ahead of the defender running towards his own goal as well. And he got in there first and pokes the ball home. It was a good move down this right-hand side. There's too much space there. We didn't quite manage to close down the space. And was it an own goal? It was an own goal, I think. I think it was. I'm not quite sure why Whittaker goes off celebrating. They've given it to him. It seemed to me like it was an own goal, but what do I know? Anyway, that means that we're at 1-1 with a few minutes to go. So we've got a few minutes to go, and Sheffield United again, unfortunately, down this right-hand side. Please don't give a penalty away. I think they probably have. Oh. Again, it's what we've talked about a little bit in last episode. We have to stop giving away stuff. We have to stop giving away the ball, giving away penalties, getting ourselves sent off, all those kinds of things that are just not helping us at all. If we can eliminate those kinds of mistakes, then we're in a much better position. We're going to have to pause the game momentarily there. We're going to have to change this up slightly. We cannot afford to go down without a fight. So we're going to move Thompson up. We're going to play 4-4-2 just for the last few minutes. We're going to go into attacking and we're going to change it from the vertical tiki-taka and we're going to go to route 1 instead and just see if we can get anything from it. We're again going to go into attacking rather than cautious. See if we can get anything from these last few minutes. And when we go back in to play, we're going to go into the shouts and demand more from them as soon as we're allowed to. Excuse me, having watched the penalty again. Again, giving away stuff like that has got to be eliminated from our game. It's going to cause us problems all season long if we still make those silly errors. I went in and changed the long throw issues that we were having with Fink, who was just giving the ball away from long throws. So we're now on short throws for that. So that's an issue that's potentially been eliminated. But we've got to find a way to make ourselves more competitive by keeping the mistakes to a minimum and getting goals like that. Again, it's the same route through. Ibrahim down that right-hand side on the overlap that was found, I think, by Thompson on that far side. Thompson drifts out wide, so Ibrahim cuts in slightly. There's the ball between the players for Ibrahim to latch onto. As long as Abu Bakar stayed onside, and I think he did, then that is another lovely move. Ibrahim to Abu Bakar, and it was onside, and we've come back to 2-2 with seconds left to play, I would imagine. We're going to keep it going, see if there's one more highlight in here for us, potentially, but it's not. It's for Sheffield United, and they're coming back at us again down this right-hand side. We've got to close down the ball. We don't, and there's the attempt over the top of the bar. We've got about a minute left to play. Is there one more highlight? And Bayu with a long goal kick out wide right to Ibrahim, but he doesn't win it. And it's Sheffield United again that have the ball. Can we get a foot in and counter-attack on them in these last seconds? Fink tried at that point, but it fell to a Sheffield United player and the top of the box. And the goalkeeper, Mbeu, has to tip it over, I think. Oh, no, he didn't. He didn't get a touch on it. It just went over the top. But the highlight continues. Is this just the final whistle? Or are we going to get one chance? We're not. Sheffield United again come back at us. And Fink has to foul him. And that might cause us a bit of a problem. But it was a tactical foul, that one. You could see him being released there. And Fink hacked him down a little bit. But again, they're still coming at us. And it was an offside decision. So have we got seconds left? We haven't. It's another point, which is what we talked about at the beginning of the episode, kind of needing a little bit, is a point a game kind of gets you safety. But against the real lesser lights in this division, we have to find a way occasionally to pick up those 3 points. We've beaten Newcastle so far this season, but that's the only 3 points we got. Today, we have to be happy with a 2-2 draw. It's not a bad result. Not quite what I was hoping for, though. So the point that we gained does bump us up into 16th position just for now, until a few others have played their 6th game in the Premier League. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But ultimately, we are still on course to do what I want to do, which is get that 38 to 40 points a season. So far, so good. Let's see if we can continue that. So what are we going to do next episode? Well, we're going to continue to play some of the lesser lights on the episodes, because those are the games that potentially we could do something from. So the one that we're going to come back for, having a good, a real tricky run, should I say, of big games to come. We've got 2 Man City games, an Everton match, Arsenal, Leicester and Chelsea. But just between the Leicester and the Chelsea match in November, we've got a game against Bournemouth in the Premier League away from home. That's the game that we're going to come back for and see if, again, we can find a way to get a few more extra points just to keep us moving forward. And then after the Bournemouth match, we'll probably come back for the last game of the calendar year, or in around there, probably the Blackburn game, I think, because we've already played Palace on an episode. So that's probably the next couple that we're coming back for. Bournemouth next episode. On the TV as well. The match has been moved for television purposes, so a real big important game for us to really show what we can do. So far, it continues to remain inconsistent, which is kind of what we would expect. We have to eliminate some of those mistakes, but overall, I'm still reasonably happy with how it's all going. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you're enjoying the series. I hope you're enjoying our time in the Premier League so far, early days as it is. I think we've got a really, really good young squad if we can survive this first season. If we can, I think we can move forward, but it's going to be a long one to find out. Anyway, join me next episode for the Bournemouth match. Until then, thank you for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That'll help me get seen by lots more people. Go and check all the links in the description below to all of my social medias, etc. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.